Hello and welcome to the Southeast Idaho Weather Hazard Briefing for Sunday, April 7th. We start out here with a satellite image where you see the green and white. That is high moisture content air. You can see it's streaming in currently even into central Idaho already, but curling through the panhandle down to Oregon and then out to sea, and this goes all the way basically back to Hawaii. In the past, we've nicknamed this the Pineapple Express, but lately the terminology of the day is calling it an atmospheric river, and that is poised to move into southern Idaho starting later on this afternoon, continuing through tonight and Monday night and Tuesday, and finally clearing out late Tuesday night. So we are in for an extended period of rain. This is warm air. It's coming all the way from Hawaii, and so we expect a lot of snowmelt for this. And I would expect later on today we will be issuing flood watches for aerial flooding over most of eastern Idaho. I don't see how anything escapes this. And the tremendous amount of rain, additional rain, not just including the snowmelt that's going to be occurring, as this very warm air will push the snow level up on our southern border with Utah. It'll be just below 10,000 feet, and even on the north end on our Montana border, it will rise as high as 8,000 plus feet before it all comes crashing down on Tuesday afternoon when the cold front portion of this storm moves in. So let's start with today. We are looking for a mixture of rain and snow in the mountains here, especially you can see heavy snow possible in some portions of sort of the central Idaho mountains, and lots of rain in the Snake River Plain. Well, I shouldn't say lots, at least not today. And we'll look at 24-hour totals here in a little bit. So here's how it's going to start out. You can see the main focus will be in the central Idaho mountains this morning, and there will be some scattered showers over in the upper Snake Highlands all the way down to Palisades in front of the Tetons, and that continues into the afternoon and intensifies. And it actually kind of decreases for our south central areas, including Pocatello. It's actually down. And here are the highs expected. Still, with all the cloudiness we are expecting, still very mild air. Temperatures getting in the lower 60s in the eastern Magic Valley. And even in Stanley, it'll be near 50 degrees. And then for the evening hours, you can see it intensifies in central Idaho mountains, but really lets up in the rest of the forecast area, and that continues late tonight. So not a whole lot happening in our south central areas for this first 24 hours. And overnight lows will be mild. You can see the areas that are in this bright purple, that's where it's below 32 degrees, and so that's where we get snow. You can see that's a very limited area. And so we're expecting little to no snow, maybe a half inch in Galena Summit area. So this is the rainfall totals. This is not snow. This is rain. Just look at the amounts here. Half an inch to an inch, and that's in the Stanley Basin. The yellow is an inch and a half to 2 inches. That's what's going to fall in some of these mountains. Again, and that's probably a rain-snow mix. I'll grant you that. But with this amount of rainfall falling up here, we expect a lot of the snowpack that's currently there to melt. You can see as the further south you go, much less rain, less than a tenth of an inch in Pocatello, Blackfoot. Really starts to pick up only when you get to Idaho Falls. We're expecting something from a tenth to a quarter of an inch. The wind speeds, the other thing to watch out for this afternoon. We are looking at 20 to 30 miles an hour here in the Snake River Plain, with some higher gusts, obviously. And for a lot of the ridge tops, it'll also be getting in excess of 30 miles an hour. So a pretty gusty, blustery day in the central Idaho mountains if you're on ridge tops. Okay, here is Monday. You can see some more steady rain now in the Snake River Plain, Treasure Valley, Eastern, or in the Magic Valley as well. And it's still a rain-snow mix in some of these higher elevations. There's still some heavy stuff possible in the Central Idaho Mountains, but more limited in scope. But you see widespread. The other thing this really doesn't mention is the threat of thunderstorms, and those are possible. This is the best day for them, and it would be for most of the area, with the exception of the Central Idaho Mountains. The other sort of 3/4 of our area right in here should expect afternoon, evening isolated thunderstorms. They wouldn't be of a strong magnitude, I don't think. We'll have lots of cloud cover. But this could mean extremely heavy downpours in a short time, which could exacerbate any sort of flooding situation that may pick up. Now, this area here on Monday night after midnight is actually when the air gets unstable enough up there as this front here starts to make its approach and becomes a cold front. And so after midnight up in the Central Idaho Mountains is their best time for thunderstorms during this 24-hour period, which is Monday and Monday night. Okay, so let's break that down. You can still see very likely to just about categorical that it's going to be raining and showering with high elevation snow, though not much of it here on Monday. Same thing over here in our Idaho-Wyoming border region, at least all the way down to Palisades Reservoir. And in the afternoon, that spreads everywhere. So Monday afternoon, the heaviest rainfall for everyone, pretty much. Maximum temperatures on Monday, you'll see here that they actually warm. And so this is when we're actually looking at melt levels, or the snow levels rising to almost 10,000 feet on this border, and in excess of 8,000 feet along this border with Montana. And even in here, some areas, it'll be raining at 9,000 feet. And all that rain will do is melt whatever snowpack it comes in contact with and bring it down. You can see in the evening it continues, and this is when we'd expect our greatest thunderstorm activity if we have any. And again, that would be this area in here, basically the southeast half of our forecast area. And then in the midnight hours, or after midnight, the actual area of best chance for thunderstorms would be this portion right in here. And you can see it's still very heavy rain. These are probabilities of precipitation. They're all what we call a likely category, pretty much, with the exception of the Snake River Plain, where it's basically a high chance probability, greater than 50%. And overnight lows on Monday night, you see saying very mild, very little change from what the highs were the day before, about a 10 to 15 degree drop. Well, you can see it might actually snow in Stanley during these overnight hours. So again, very heavy rain once again in the Central Idaho Mountains. Very heavy rain up from Island Park all the way down to Palisades, and moderate rain here. You can see it's all solidly 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, which is quite a bit added, especially when you start adding it up to the totals we received the day before. Stanley's now looking at anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches of rain, and that's in Stanley Basin. Never mind what's falling in the mountains is even more, on the order of 1 to 2 inches, and maybe some areas when you add it all up with this additional 1/2 to 2, you're looking at 3 to 4 inches, possibly rain falling on that snowpack, and that is a lot of rain for that to absorb. Winds, not quite as windy as Sunday, but Monday it'll continue to at least be breezy. And now we move on to Tuesday and Tuesday night. You can see the front by Tuesday morning will have blown through most of our forecast area with the exception of Bear Lake and some of our areas in the Idaho-Wyoming border region. And you can see more snow in these high elevations, and rain snow is more likely. The temperatures are cooling down behind this cold front, and we could even see a dusting of snow in elevations like Pocatello and Idaho Falls, but it would be very brief, and it wouldn't be until late Tuesday night. For the most part, will be rain during the day for those locations. Central Idaho Mountains, a little bit of a different story. We actually will show you snowfall totals for this 24-hour period. See, still very high probabilities of precipitation, bordering on categorical, which would be 80% or higher. And the same is true in the afternoon. I would say, though, for Tuesday that the thunderstorm activity will have probably moved on. We will not see much behind the cold front. Basically, all occurs in front of the cold front and with the cold front, which comes through late Monday night. So Tuesday temperature, you can see they are cooling. Look at that, a drop of 13 degrees at Pocatello. So most locations 10 to 15 degrees cooler. Continue breezy, but you can see most of the breezes now are in the eastern Magic Valley rather than the Snake River Plain. And you can see the precipitation threat is starting to tail off here Tuesday evening. And then late Tuesday night, we're back to just a chance threat, with the exception of the Idaho-Wyoming border region, where it's still likely. And you see temperatures getting back to near freezing. So that's about a 10-degree drop just for the Snake River Plain. You see Stanley's back down to 22, so that will all be snow. So here's the snowfall amounts. You can see basically though Stanley just getting less than an inch of snow. Most of the high stuff, 6 to 8 inches, is really above 8,500 feet, so it's not going to impact much. Maybe 2 to 4 inch totals on Galena Summit. And again, continued rain, although a lot of this might fall as snow, but you can see how it tapers off, especially in the western portions of our forecast area. Not so much on our border with Wyoming. Here's the extended forecast. Rain and snow likely continues on Wednesday and Wednesday night. And Thursday is our last chance of rain and snow. And then after that, it falls off to a slight chance. You can see, though, temperatures are gradually cooling. They will start to rebound on Saturday, where there's slight warming from these temperatures here on these highs. If you want to read this in more detail, you can hit the pause button. That's all I have. Any further questions? Contact us at this telephone number here, or you can check out the weather yourself at this URL, weather.gov/Pocatello. If you have any comments on or feedback for the content of the briefing, email our webmaster this email address. Thanks for watching.